Assalamu alaikum dear students, hope you're fine. In today's class we will discuss some more questions of the chapter of the lesson the Browning version written by Terence Rattigan. Now let us start short answer type questions. Question number first, what do you learn about Tableau? What do you learn about Tableau from the initial conversation between him and Mr. Frank? Answer: Tableau is a boy of 16. He is still in lower fifth. He can't he cannot specialize until the next term if he gets his form division all right. Since his master Mr. Cooker Harris has now told him the result, he will have to wait till the next day to learn his fate. Let me repeat the answer. Tableau is a boy of 16. He is still in lower fifth. He can't specialize until the next term if he gets his form oblique division all right. Since his master, Mr. Crooker Harris, has not told him the result, so he will have to wait till the next day to learn his fate. Question number second. You know that he is not like Sir, says Tableau. You know that he is not like Sir, says Tableau. What leads him to say so? What light does this throw on the man talked about? Answer: Tableau does not know if he has got his form. Tableau does not know if he has got his form. It is because his master, Mr. Crooker Harris, does not tell them the results like the other masters. He is a bit different when Frank says that a rule says that form results should only be announced by a headmaster on the last day of term. Tableau says that none else except Mr. Crooker Harris pays attention to it. This shows that the man is a stickler to the rules. Let me repeat the answer. Tableau does not know if he has got his form. It is because his master, Mr. Crooker Harris, does not tell him the result like the other masters. He is a bit different when Frank says that a rule says that form results should only be announced by a headmaster on the last day of term. Form results should only be announced by the headmaster on the last day of term. Tableau says that none else except Mr. Cooker Harris pays attention to it. This shows that the man is a stickler to the rules. Question number 3. Which course of study does Tableau prefer and why? Answer: Tableau prefers science to literature. He finds it a good deal more exciting than his play, which he considers quite unpleasant. Question number 4. How does Tableau react to Mr. Frank's query? How does Tableau react to Mr. Frank's query? And you considered views is that the Agamemnon is muck, and you considered views that the Agamemnon is muck. Answer: Tableau modifies his stand. He says that he does not think the play is a muck. It has a good plot, in fact, a wife murdering her husband and all that. His opinion is based on the way it is taught to them. Just a lot of Greek words strung together and 50 lines if one gets them wrong. Thus Tableau draws a fine distinction between the study of science and literature. Question number 5. For whom is Tableau waiting and why? How does he feel? Answer: Tableau is waiting for his master, Mr. Crocker Harris. He has come in to do extra work on the last day of term because he missed a day last week when he was ill. Since the weather is quite fine, he feels quite unhappy to be confined in a room. He might as well be playing golf. Question number 6. How, according to Tableau, Mr. Coker Harris is unlike other masters? Answer: Other masters would certainly give a chap a farm after his Other masters would certainly give a chap a farm after his taking extra work, but Mr. Crocker Harris is unlike them. When Tableau asked him about his farm, he told the boy he told the boy that he had given him exactly what he deserved, not less and certainly not no more. Tableau is afraid that he might have marked his down rather than up for taking extra work. Question number 7. How does Tableau react to Frank's suggestion? Why don't you cut? You should still play golf before lockup. How does Tableau react to Frank's suggestion? Why don't you cut? You should still play golf before lockup. Answer: Tableau is really shocked at this suggestion. He reacts strongly and says that he could not cut Mr. Crocker Harris. It has never been done during his stay there. If he did so, nobody could predict the consequences. Perhaps he would follow Tableau, Tableau whom or do Tableau whom. Perhaps he would follow Tableau whom or do some such extraordinary thing. Question number 8. Why do you think Frank envies Mr. Crocker Harris? What possible reasons make him so unique? Answer: Frank envies Mr. Crocker Harris for the effect he seems to have on the boys in the fall. They will they all seem sacred they all seem scared to death of him. He wants to know what he does, whether he beats them all or does something else which is awe-inspiring. Tableau informs Mr. Frank that Mr. Coker Harris is not a sadist. Question number 9. How, according to Tableau, does Mr. Coker Harris different from other masters in his reactions towards others? Answer is: Mr. Coker Harris is not a sadist like some other masters. He does not get pleasure out of giving pain. If he were a sadist, he would not be a frightening. It would show he has some feelings, but he has not any. He has all dry like a nut. He is all dry like a nut. He seems to hate people like him, but other masters like being liked. Question number 9. What leads Mr. Frank to comment, "I am sure you are exaggerating"? Answer: Tableau says that Mr. Coker Harris seems to hate people to like him. Yet, in spite of everything, Tableau does rather like him. He can't help him. He thinks that sometimes Mr. Coker Harris notices it and seems to shrivel him up even more. This observation of Tableau seems far-fetched, so Mr. Frank remarks that he is exaggerating. Question number 9. Question number 11. How does Tableau refute the charge that he is exaggerating? Answer: Tableau says that the other day Mr. Coker Harris made one of his classical jokes. In the class, nobody understood it, so no one laughed. At last, Tableau laughed because he knew the master had meant it as funny. He did not. He did so out of ordinary common politeness. Secondly, he felt a bit sorry for him for having made a poor joke. Mr. Coker Harris did not praise Tableau for it. Question number 12. How did Mr. Coker Harris react to Tableau's action of laughing at his joke? Answer. He noticed that Tableau had laughed at his little joke. He confessed that he was pleased at the progress Tableau had made in his Latin. It was clear from the fact that he had understood so readily what the rest of the form did not. Then he asked Tableau to explain the joke to the rest of the class. Question number 13. How do Tableau and Frank react to Millie's arrival? Answer. Frank seems how do Tableau and Frank react to Millie's arrival? Answer is Frank seems infinitely relieved to see Millie. On the other hand, Tableau is nervous. He is unable to control his emotions and whispers to Frank if he thinks she has heard their conversation. He is afraid that if she did so and tells her husband, he will lose her form. He will lose his form. Question number 14. What does Millie tell Tableau about her husband? What assignment does she offer the young boy? Answer is she tells Tableau that her husband is at the Bursars and might be there quite a long time. If she went to him, she would go. Tableau remarks that Mr. Coker Harris had especially asked him to come. She then asks him to run the chemist and bring medicine according to the prescription. Thus, he could do a job for him. She would take blame if he came before Tableau returned. The long answer type questions. What do you learn about the system of education in old British school from the play, the Browning version? Important question. Old British school, much stress was laid on the study of classical language, Latin and Greek. Students of the lower fifth form were made to learn a classic play like the Agami, Agamemnon. Since the stress was on the acquisition of language, the students found it disinteresting and very unpleasant. They could specialize only after completing fifth form. There was a system of punishment. For a simple error, one had to repeat 50 lines. Students were also kept in or called the extra work. They were morally afraid of teachers like Mr. Crooker Harris, who would abide by rules and show no human feelings. At the same time, the school had teachers who were sadists and others who would break the rules and tell results to the students. Students like Tableau were afraid of hard masters like Mr. Cooker Harris. Still, they liked him. Now, the long answer type second question is what impression do you form about Mr. Cooker Harris on the basis of reading the play, the Browning version? Answer is whatever we learned about Mr. Cooker Harris is through reactions of other characters and their comments on them. Even this method of indirect presentation helps us to gather a fair picture of the strict and stern and stern middle-aged master. He is in a class by himself and is totally unlike the other teachers. He is a man of principles and sticks to the rules. Unlike other teachers, he does not divulge the results of the form to the students. Since it is the domain of the headmaster, he is not a sadist. He does not beat the students. Even then, the students are mortally afraid of him. It is because he is quite strict and shows no emotion, even of anger. He remains calm and composed. He teaches classical languages, Greek and Latin. Even his jokes are classical. Students fail to understand them. He is duty conscious. He is leaving the school at the end of the term and is quite busy on the last day in his own affairs. Still, he asks Tableau to come in for extra work. In short, he impresses us with his fine qualities of head and heart. The last question, that is, this is question number 3. The humorous piece is an extract from a play. What, according to you, makes this extract humorous? Answer. The play presents a funny situation. Frank, a young science teacher, finds 16-year-old Tableau waiting for his master, Mr. Crocker Harris. This lower fifth from student has been asked to come in to do extra work on the last day of the school. Mr. Crocker Harris is leaving the school for good. The next day, being quite busy in settling his own affair, he has not yet arrived there. Tableau's affairs of adverse remarks about his result make us smile. Tableau's fears of adverse remarks about his result make us smile. The interaction between Mr. Frank and Tableau is quite amusing. The young science teacher encourages Tableau's comments on Crocker Harris. The manner in which Tableau imitates his master's voice, manner of speaking, and directions are quite amusing. The sudden arrival of Willie Crocker Harris in the midst of an imitation of a joke surprises Frank and makes Tableau nervous. Their reactions are quite amusing. Tableau's unwillingness to leave the piece, leave the place, and his fears of consequences in case of his master's returns before his arrival seem genuine but funny. He feels relieved only when Millie offers to take the blame. All these reactions seem exaggerated. All these actions seem exaggerated and funny. Thank you very much.